but you don't want to let it overcome you and decide that's the only feeling that is going to bring you to where you need to be, because it's not. Because again, what if you do get injured? Time out of the board, a-hole here. Thank you for joining me as always, and we're gonna have a little bit of a conversation today. Kind of inspired by a few videos that other people have done, most notably Josh Brett. Make sure you go check out his video about how being unhealthy or healthy ruined my life. I'll make sure there's a link in the description, and I'll make sure I would have just flashed something on the screen there. But a really terrific video, and something that I could relate to. Now, I'm not gonna pretend it was to the same, maybe, intensity that Josh spoke about, but I know that Greg Doucette did a video as well, and it's stuff that we have touched about here on the channel before. So I thought, you know what? I need a video idea for Friday. Why don't we just do a little bit of it? It was meant to be one of my walking vlogs. I was just going to go for a walk and talk about it, but the weather, as I can see as I stare out my window, is just absolutely horrific, and I don't want to get wet. That's why I put on my hat. But yeah, it all ties back into when I was in my 20s, sort of like, 23, 24, moving into my 30s, and how I approached the gym and how I approached bodybuilding and fitness and lifting weights. Because what I essentially did is I completely forgot about the idea of health and fitness, right? It wasn't health and fitness. It was just all about how can I try and, well, basically, I needed to be in shape constantly, all of the time. But my version of being in shape wasn't the kind of, healthy version of being in shape. Basically, I wanted to be as big as I possibly could. That was it. All I cared about was being as absolutely big as I possibly could. I didn't care about abs. I didn't care about cardiovascular activity. I didn't care about anything. I just wanted to be a strong dude in the gym that if you saw somebody walking around on the street like, oh man, look at that dude. Even though if I'd whipped my top off, I would have just had a massive belly, which was kind of the interesting thing when I look back now. So it wasn't even an aesthetic thing. I don't want to call it an affectation because I did love the gym, and the gym has always been sort of my roots and my foundations, blah, blah, blah. But it came down to how I wanted other people to perceive me. And it's not like I realized this at the time. So many people hear this and go, why did you just stop doing it? Because I didn't know I was doing that. I loved going to the gym, and I loved having the diet that I had, and I loved all of this stuff. But it had evolved, I suppose, into this place that just isn't good for your brain, and it isn't good for you mentally. Case in point, I would never allow myself to go over 3 hours without eating some food. Now, there are tons of different ways to build muscle and to maintain muscle and to main gain and to get undo all of that. And sure, one of them is eating every 2 to 3 hours to fuel that metabolism. There is a science behind that. But if you do go over 3 hours, you don't all of a sudden instantly go into a catabolic state. That's the kind of stuff that V-Shred talks about. Like, oh no, over 180 minutes, you're going to die. 120 minutes. No, 180 minutes. I was right the first time. It's not true. And I don't really know how that got out there. I presume because it is just a good way to stoke the fire. So then somebody made that the law. But I could be driving around and maybe I'm stuck in traffic or whatever, and I notice this dreaded 3 hour window coming, and I'd pull over, I'd stop in a gas station, a service station, and I would, whatever I could that was relatively healthy. So I'd drink some milk. I just drink anything or eat something that I thought, well, that's relatively in the middle, and I just got to stick it down my neck, which was just dumb. Now, there were other things that I did that maybe I wouldn't necessarily feel like I had to do now, but I do think when you are building your bases, they say you should do. So for example, if I went to the cinema, I would bring my own snacks. My own snacks was just my meal. Or if I went out with my mates on a Friday night, I would bring my own snacks and I would just, have a lunchbox and I would eat it. That's just ensuring that you don't get hungry and eat crap, or that's just ensuring that you keep your diet up, which is massively important. Again, you can't outwork a bad diet. But I had gotten to the point where I was just so stressed about it all of the time. Like, if there was an impromptu meal out that I had to go to because of my work, I'd be like, oh man, what am I going to be eating? What's going to be on the menu? What if I eat too many calories? Which was crazy anyway, because I was already consuming too many calories. I was, because again, I was absolutely obsessed with strength. And if you ever powerlifted, I wasn't like lifting Atlas balls or anything like that. Atlas stones, Atlas balls. That's something completely different. But hey man, you do you. I think the best deadlift I ever did, we talked about this before, was 275 kilograms. Now look, it wasn't a pretty deadlift. And if I'd done it in any kind of official capacity, I'm sure someone will go, man, that does not count, because you look like you were going to fall on the floor. But I wanted to be able to do these big lifts in the gym, and it was the best thing ever, was people coming up to go, oh dude, you need a great lift. But when I look back at the pictures of me now, and I make sure there's some on the screen, and if I dare, I may put some in the thumbnail, it's just a fat mess. Because I would eat and 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 I would eat. And it was just, I didn't do cardio because this is again V-Shred logic, where I was convinced that cardio was going to eat away your gains, and I didn't want to do that. And it wasn't until really I started training it was before I started doing my bodybuilding competition, but I got a personal trainer on really because I just wanted to see, how much I could max it out. And he was just like, man, you got to change all of this. Like, this is an incredible amount of calories, and look at you. And yeah, look at me. I looked absolutely crap. And actually one of the things that kind of helped me a little bit is that I got injured. And when I got injured, I had to take some time off the gym. And I did, thankfully, naturally reduce my calories, which is kind of good really, because you would have presumed I may have gone the opposite way and been so terrified that I kept my calories up and I would have got even fatter than I already was, but I didn't. I went the other way. And that is when I started to introduce cardiovascular activity. Don't know why I kept calling it that. Running, treadmill, whatever. And I just started to feel so much better. And I realized how sluggish that I had been. Because it was just way too many calories. And I had this idea in my head that not that you couldn't miss the gym, because I've always understood that rest and recovery is important. If you don't rest and recover and sleep, you're not going to grow. But yeah, let's say I was meant to go and do chest and triceps, whatever, on a Monday, but then personal life, work reasons, whatever, something the gym had to take second priority for the day. I was really worried about it. And I beat myself up about it, like, oh, you haven't gone to the gym, rah, rah, rah. And it's good to hold yourself accountable. Like, this isn't like a black and white thing. There are shades of grey. You have to hold yourself accountable. If you do have one of those moments where you do, succumb to cravings, like, you just got to balance it out. Of course you do, because, going to the gym and getting where you want to go is a case of weeks and months and years, as opposed to day to day to day to day to day. Again, so it's good to count your calories day to day, but really, what are you eating in a week? What are you eating in a month? It's people always say, oh, Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming up and I'm going to eat a bunch of crap. Don't worry about Thanksgiving and Christmas. Worry about what you're eating between Thanksgiving and Christmas is. Like, what's your diet on a 365-day level? But I was just plowing stuff away. And it wasn't good for me, especially, like I say, when I was also really worried about not going to the gym. And I suppose this was actually fueled on, now I think about it, by how people would react to you. So I did go on a few cuts here and there, or I decided to decrease in weight and therefore decrease in body mass a little bit, because again, a lot of what I was holding was just water from all the food. And while in the jumper you think, like, guy looks like he works out, again, it was all just the wrong kind of a weight. People would see you and they would go, oh, Miller, you've lost a lot of weight. Have you stopped going to the gym? And that would just wreck me mentally, because again, I was putting too much of my personality into how I looked. I thought I had to be the gym guy. And if I didn't look like I was lifting 700 kilograms, I was like, well, who even are you? How are you even going to drive any kind of confidence from this? The irony being that I didn't have any confidence. Of course I didn't have any confidence, because if you have confidence, you're not worried about what other people think of you. Doesn't mean your feelings can't be hurt. Again, it's not a black and white situation. You can have confidence and still be knocked here and there. But my big worry, those words would kill me. You look like you stopped going to the gym. Like, well, I must be doing something wrong. And a lot of people do get this when they go on a cut and they get shredded up. It's kind of less so now, because fitness is just so much more popular and it's so much transparent in a more popular space. But it can be really detrimental to your mental health, which I suppose what this video is all about. But that is why it's always important to remember that whatever you're doing in the gym is not the be all and end all that comes to everything. Like, am I ever going to stop going to the gym? No. Do I still want to get in better shape than I am now? Of course I do. And do some days, do I wake up, look in the mirror and go, man, that is an abomination to mankind? That's a wild exaggeration. But yeah, you can't expect to be on it and 100% all of the time. But I do not let it kick my ass as much as I, used to. Like, I'm not scared of cardio. Of course I'm going to do it. Even if I get 1 meal in a day, I mean, it's very rare because I'm so busy and I just have to prioritize other things. That's okay. I know my body can deal with it. What I'm going to do, or what I do is I look back over a month. So we get to the end of August, I look at it, what was your diet like? What was your training like? You need to change this. You need to change that. Maybe there's a few tweaks you can do here. But you can't walk through life unless you're being paid for it and it's your job. That's a completely different argument, a completely different situation. Like, if you're a Mr. Olympia competitor, of course you can dedicate more of your time to it. That's your job. But when it's just something you're trying to fit in with relationships, family, work, money issues, whatever the hell is going on, just life being annoying and being life, every now and then it does have to just go down the totem pole of importance, which I've just made up. The totem pole of importance. That sounds like something you want to get involved in. Stupid microphone moving around. And it's so easy to fall into it as well. It really is, because when you do start seeing gains and you do start seeing progress, it makes you feel awesome. And you absolutely want to hold on to that feeling, but you don't want to let it overcome you and decide that's the only feeling that is going to bring you to where you need to be, because it's not. Because again, what if you do get injured and you're not able to train that way? It doesn't mean you can't be a little bit upset because you don't look how you want to look. I've done that too. Screwed my shoulder up in 2018. And by 6 months in, I came back after 8 months. 6 months in, I lost it all, because that's what happens. But it always comes back because of muscle memory. But this can happen. And it can happen without you realizing it. It's so easy to get into a horrible routine where you think, well, I've got to be eating this and I've got to be doing that. And I can't break the routine. Like, the routine is everything. And I love routine, but you've got to be more not expendable, but you've got to be more just lucid and fluid. And you kind of have to take life on life's terms. Doesn't mean you don't smash it in the gym. Doesn't mean you don't keep your diet on point 99% of the time. But it does mean that you're just aware that it's not realistic to expect it otherwise. And I was so stressed out. I was so stressed out with this stuff. I didn't even have a good physique because of it. I could lift a lot in the gym. I was pretty damn strong. But if I had kept that up, I would imagine, I mean, I don't know what kind of problems I would have had now, but I would have some kind of cholesterol problem, I presume. I mean, I wasn't eating a lot of bad food. It was just like a hell of a lot of good food I was eating, but it was still just, it was way too much. It was too calorific. And it wasn't like I was plowing myself with drugs or anything like that, but it just was not a healthy way to live. And I know this because I can look at myself and tell that I don't look like I'm in good shape. So, and this can happen as well. You know, bigorexia is a thing too, where you can be a massive guy or a massive girl and not even realize that you are huge. And I think we all suffer from that from a little bit, because that's why we keep going to the gym, because we are chasing the dangling carrot. But always try to find a way to bring it back to where you're enjoying what you're doing 90% of the time, because you've always got to leave that 10%. But that's what it should be doing for you. It should be giving you, it should be adding to your life, and it should be giving you something that motivates you and inspires you and that you can share with others. And you just want to feel good deep down in your tum-tum. That's why the body rewards you with endorphins after a workout. It's this way of telling you, keep doing that. I really enjoy it. It's also why you get a dopamine release before you eat crap food. Different conversation for a different day. It can take over your life. It can ruin your life. And I guess my advice, the too long didn't read version, even though I'm saying that at the end of the video, is just try not to let it, and try and be self-aware, and try and remember that anything in life is all about moderation and balance. Like, even if you did turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is your dream body, you're still going to be struggling with things if you haven't dealt with those other problems. You know, problem plus problem doesn't equal problems gone. You know, it just means the one problem is still there. That wasn't even a very good equation. I don't even know what that meant. So yeah, something I wanted to talk about, something I think that is important. Let's see if I have the balls to put the photos up there. I just look so terrible. And again, it goes to show, I guess I still have a little bit of that in me, because I'm worried about it. What's the worst that can happen? Simon, you look well fat. Yeah, I know, I have eyes too. And I can look at the photo. It's like when people do karaoke. Mate, that was crap. Well, I'm not Billie Eilish. What did you expect to come out of my mouth? Think I'm Billie Eilish? I'm crap. Oh, come on. Now, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the bell ding ding so you know when other videos are going live. There is another video on the screen. Please do give it a click. I'm on patreon.com/Simon316 if you want to support the channel. I'm also in Greg Doucette's new cookbook. Link in the description below. Use code Simon15 for 15% off. On Instagram and Twitter at SimonMiller316. Merchandise SimonMiller.bigcartel.com. Otherwise, have a great day. If you do kind of think, maybe I'm falling into that, it's not like a light switch. You got to sort of wean yourself off it, but I know you can do it, and I'll see you soon.